Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Canada Cup Season 7. We've got another lower bracket matchup tonight. Evernova versus Luccini, best of 3. Loser is going home. Winner is moving on to fight another day. We're getting towards the tail end of this thing. Got to wait for the major to wrap up, and then I think this baby's going to get completed. We've got DC and Complexity still in the upper bracket, so a lot to look forward to over there. But, of course, they're in Manila right now, hence why we're going to have to stall at Canada Cup. This is the last broadcast for a couple of days, so all of you Soylent Warriors out there, you're going to have to go on by yourselves until we come back, and hopefully you're not too burned out from absorbing all that overnight Manila Major madness. I'm kind of looking forward to it, though also afraid of what it's going to do to my sleep schedule. So enough about that. Let's hop into our game here. Evernova versus Luccini. I'm Zayori, joined tonight by Annie Droid. What's going on? How you feeling on this fine, what day is it? Monday Eve.
Hey, I'm feeling pretty good. Definitely excited to cast this game. First time casting Canada Cup. Got powered up, drank a Soylent right before we started, so I am all set to go. And we've got pretty typical bans coming out right now. Beastmaster Doom, nothing too special. Wouldn't be surprised to see Lifestealer. I've actually seen a lot of Death Prophet recently, so that could be worthy of a first round ban.
Yeah, who knows? I'm surprised they're taking this long, honestly. Bounty Hunter, there you go. Enchantress, we've still seen a few teams playing. I haven't seen Evernova or Luccini since they played earlier in this tournament. So I'm not exactly sure what to expect. We do have a couple stand-ins, though, which is unfortunate for all of the bettors out there. Luccini did lose some of their reserve time. They've got Ched and Sojiro standing in tonight, but don't worry, they've got the Sword. That's their master drafter this evening. One of their proper players. He's looking good. Evernova does have Slicks drafting tonight. He's tagged up as a stand-in. I don't know what the deal is, but the mastermind at the helm, the old Han guy, I know him from way back. I know I'm always jerking off to how amazing Slicks is, and he still hasn't won anything. He hasn't found that team yet. I've been talking about this for years, literally like 2 years. Every time I say like Slicks, hey, Frenetic Array, here's a new Earth. He won all that shit all that long time ago. And he's a really skilled player, but he has not been able to find a team that has actually worked in this long duration. He's from New Zealand or Australia. I can't remember which is awful. He's often been plagued with big ping issues, and I know he was in North America for a while. I don't know if he still is. So ping, always a factor there. But yeah, enough about Slicks. My God.
You and him, man, you go way back. All right, Phoenix first pickup here for Luccini. Definitely an all-around great utility support. They've got, I believe, Camu Z has a comfort here on the Phoenix, but we might see if someone else wants to pick it up.
Yep. First pick Phoenix, pretty good. The Wind Ray, I'm sure we'll see that same build we've been seeing. It's really incredible. This hero can transition into pretty much anything. Great mid-game team fight, can play a good 4, keep people alive, also play an aggressive 4, shut people down. Pairs pretty nicely with pretty much any other support. Probably one of the most dynamic heroes right now outside of the Beastmaster. I mean, Beastmaster can't heal, so I guess Phoenix even has him beat in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of potential Phoenix synergies. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Lifestealer. I've seen it a couple times in the China scene. You put the Lifestealer inside the Phoenix Icarus, dive in, go straight into egg after you plop out the Lifestealer, and good God, you've got some AoE damage.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The Lifestealer is also pretty good against the Phoenix. Just the nature of rage, you can get rid of the fiery spirits, and you can actually get some right clicks off. Usually goes for attack speed items too. It's an extra incentive to buy a Midas, and well, there you fucking go. Evernova's gonna go right into the Lifestealer. Nice deny pick, like you were saying, and they'll have the Earth Spirit to pair it with. It's an okay support for Infest Bombs. They'll probably look for a Blink Dagger carrier either in the off lane or in their mid, but time will tell. Earth Spirit, some teams are still running him. If you have a good Earth Spirit player, then you can definitely fit him in. Honestly, I don't know if he is first pick material right now. It's sort of a mixed bag. Some teams prioritize him, some don't. The problem for me is he just falls off so fast. There's this window early on where he is ridiculous. Like pre-level 6, he has some gank potential. Usually you can make it work. Once you hit level 6, Magnetize gives you so much damage. You can rush right into a Veil, support your team. You can get into an Ags, and after like 30 minutes or so, he just feels kind of underwhelming. And, most games are pretty much going past the 30-minute mark unless you really dominate early.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see the Void picked up here for Luccini, so it looks like they're going to play very much around their team fight ultis. You only go in for initiations when you've got the Chrono, when you've got the Egg, when you've got perhaps the Death Prophet ulti, which is a synergy we've seen a lot. Void, Phoenix, Death Prophet. Make it just a zone of pain that Evernova don't want to fight into.
Yeah, absolutely. Great team fight for Luccini. A lot of things you can combo with this too. Invoker, not yet banned out. Probably something they want to look towards. I have no idea what their stand-ins play. I don't even know who's playing which positions tonight. Both teams with 2 stand-ins expect the wild stuff to come out, I think. Actually, I'm going to pull up the bracket here and see exactly what is on the line here. Who are they up against? It's Dragneil, Digital Chaos in the upper bracket. Oh, sweet Jiminy Crickets. The winner of this one has to play Complexity for elimination. And then the winner of that will play either FDL or Freedom. And oh, wait, FDL already beat Freedom 2-0. So, yeah, the winner of this plays Complexity. Winner of that plays FDL. So it's a tough road ahead for either of these teams. But, hey, we're going to look at the positives. Somebody's moving on, so that's good. Dreams are going to come true.
Definitely an uphill battle from here. So Evernova versus Luccini, not exactly the biggest warriors of NA and SA, but definitely something on the line here. As like you said, loser goes home. They're out of Canada Cup 7.
Canada Cup, the big money. That's why we're here. They pay us the big bucks. 20K prize pool. It's actually pretty good for North American standards. I don't know why Dota's not bigger in North America, but it's actually like the North American tournament now. Especially since ESL New York's just Counter-Strike. You know, this is it. Now all we have is Canada Cup. And TI, but come on, that's...
Man, ESL New York was some fun times.
Yep, good stuff. So, Invoker banned out by Evernova. Smart choice, as well as the Tinker. All great team fight AoE combos, amazing with what they have already. The Laser, of course, with the Blind against Phoenix, or with Phoenix, rather, is really good. Darkseer Slardar banned out by Luccini, kind of interesting. Darkseer, just annoying offlaner. Probably, well, they have a lot of options here. It could be a safe lane Void with an off-lane Phoenix, or a support Phoenix. Could also be that off-lane Void. A couple of options. I think it's more likely to be the safe lane Void, like the Vanguard Radiance bullshit that we've been seeing left and right. I did see a Mask of Madness Void this morning in C Kappa, though, so who knows? You know, it's a good old-fashioned just... Chrono, get the attack speed and kill him. It was actually really refreshing to see. It's been years since that's been...
Yeah, that's been like 2013. That was the last time that was huge meta.
The go-to Void build. It was really good stuff. But hey, it worked in that game, mostly just because they dominated all of the lanes. But yeah, that'll happen. Tidehunter, 3rd pick for Evernova.
I really like this pick. I think it's one of the most sustainable offlaners right now and offers so much in terms of team fights. And the fact that Tidehunter is going to be playing that support, not going too greedy, means Evernova have room to run a jungler if they'd like to.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know if you want to go... Well, we'll see. It depends what this Luccini draft ends up going. Sometimes against these heavy team fight lineups, if you go for a greedy jungler and you just give them all the space, like they'll get all of their core items and hit that timing so easily. I feel like you kind of need to pressure, disrupt a little bit, and not let them just go right for their blink daggers, their initiation tools, the mech, whatever those key items end up being to allow them to fight. And they've already got a lineup that can fight pretty early. You know, once Tide hits level 6, he can definitely join the party. We've been seeing Tides mostly go like Mech Arcane way before Blink Dagger. You know, that the old days of Brown Boots, Rush Blink, Tide, I think, are kind of long gone. But, you know, with a Life Stealer, maybe they want to put some pressure on. You could pick a fight right around the time he gets his armlet.
Yeah, especially in the Chinese scene, it's super popular for Tidehunter to just skip over the Blink Dagger till like 3rd or 4th item. We saw Zhao 8 go for Arcane Boots, Mech, Pipe, and like other components of items before picking up that Blink at like 40 minutes in the game. So it's just not prioritized. If they have a lineup that can assure that Tidehunter can part the Red Sea and just stroll on in and hit R, then he doesn't really need that Blink.
It's true, yeah, and we've seen more and often now where sometimes Pipe first item on the offlaner is just incredible. It's such a value item. I'm so glad we're finally seeing these like tanky bruiser type heroes like Axe, you know, your Tidehunter, just going for a casual Hooded Defiance. I saw a Death Prophet do it the other day in either C-Cap or Canada Cup, and some games it is so warranted. And now that it's only 1 ring of regen, it's such a value item because it gives you the active. It's so much. It's like just a personal pipe. It's incredible. It's great. But you were talking about the Death Prophet. Great team fighter, synergizes amazingly with the Void Phoenix. Also comes online sort of a similar time that Phoenix gets the egg. Void's got a kind of a core item or two and can kind of fight around his ultimate. And now the Timbersaw. I saw Nefari fuck somebody up with a Timbersaw earlier today. Solo mid style. He went completely ham on an Alchemist. Timbersaw is back in vogue, honestly. I think this hero has been underrated for a while. He's been that guy that's like, oh, he's only good in strength core lineups. I think we're seeing now that he can shine in other matchups. But look at this. It is a strength core lineup. That's 3 heroes that are going to lose massive HP from Whirling Death. I like it. This Luccini draft, man, is pretty scary. We'll see what they do with the final picks. Axe banned out by Evernova. Luccini still thinking about it.
So, with the lanes as they are, we're going to see safe lane Void, off lane Timber, mid Timber, safe lane Prophet, mid Prophet, off lane. Like, what's happening here?
So I would say definitely support Phoenix. It's safe lane Void, off lane Timbersaw, safe mid lane Prophet. I think is the way to do it.
10 seconds remaining.
And we'll see where the Phoenix goes. They'll definitely grab another supporter. Axe is a weird ban. I guess it's pretty good against Lifestealer. Gives you some okay control through the BKB effect. But I think Luccini are going to go for like a Witch Doctor or something. Just a great survivability based support. Like a Dazzle could be okay, though I'm not sure if that's something they really play too much. Witch Doctor synergizes pretty well. Chrono, you got to be a little careful with. A little stick doesn't work so well when it's stuck in the time sphere.
Remaining.
But we'll see. They've only got a couple seconds left of bonus time, so they got to get executive.
remaining.
Something like a Rubik could be pretty good here as well against the Tide and Lion. A lot of good spells to steal.
Absolutely. I think the Axe ban is purely just against the sword. He's been running it all over the place, but there's your Witch Doctor boy, and I mean, Luccini have crazy teamfight combo, but their ebb and flow of teamfight is really going to be based around those ultimates. They gotta have the Death Ward, gotta have the Chrono, gotta have the Exorcism before they really want to go in. The exception to that is the Timbersaw, who can just play around all laning stage, and I'm really hoping Timbersaw does well here, but I think Evernova might be able to shut him down if they play their cards right in the lane.
Yeah, we'll see.
5
Lion, Earth
seconds
Spirit
remaining.
definitely have a lot of roaming potential. And, don't forget Evernova are pretty cooldown reliant themselves. It's usually pretty late in the game where Lion will hit level 11. So his ult's on 160-second cooldown, Tide Hunter 150. So they're about on par with the level 1 Chronosphere and the Death Prophet. Storm Spirit for Evernova. I don't know about this at all. Yeah, I think Luccini won game 1. I'm not going to lie. I don't see it. It's a great Infest Bomb carrier. I shouldn't be so cynical off the bat. That is one of the greatest parts about this. Storm Lifestealer is a great combo. Hit him with a Vortex. Infest out, Rage. You're killing something. Same with the Lion. He'll get a Blink Dagger. Very mobile lineup to fight around the Lifestealer. But I think the Luccini teamfight is just better. And the problem is Evernova's draft is kind of built around teamfight. Like if you covered up Luccini's draft, looked at Evernova and said, all right, what's going on here? You'd be like, well, they've got some pretty good mid-game teamfight. Lifestealer is going to do a lot of damage. Earth Spirit, Storm, good damage dealers to fight around the Finger and the Ravage. Then you look at Luccini's lineup and you go, holy shit, you've got a Chronosphere, you've got Exorcism, you've got Egg, you've got Sunray and Heal from the Witch Doctor, and Evernova have no real way to deal with that. If this Phoenix ends up getting a mech, that sustain is going to be massive on top of this Death Prophet. But again, what do I know? We'll see. Time will tell. What are your thoughts about the draft?
I think Luccini's going greedy. They gotta win all their lanes to really have a shot in this mid-game. Otherwise, Evernova, they can group up, they can hit their 6, and they can just start ripping people apart. I mean, if Lifestealer's left along for too long, we typically see Phase Boots into Armlet into either Dessa or Echo Saber, and he starts being a real problem. And you look at where the damage is coming from on the side of Luccini. In early game, it's mostly going to come from Death Prophet, Spirit Siphons, and Crypt Swarms, maybe a couple of nice Timbersaw, Chakrams, and Whirling Deaths, but Void isn't going to start right-clicking till 20-25 minutes.
Oh, we'll see about that. Don't underestimate the power of the Void. Look at those time locks, dude. You max that out, level 7, 125 damage 25% of the time. Jesus, that's like a double damage rune a quarter of the time. That's 25% uptime. That's not bad. You might be surprised with the damage old safe lane Void does. But some of it is reliant on his build. Now, one of the things that I am a little nervous about here, Timbersaw being picked into the Lion. I forget the pick order, actually. But either way, Lion's very good against Timbersaw. Any kind of disable interrupts the Timber Chain, makes him much less mobile, and Hex, one of the better tools to do that. Earth Spike, if you can catch him, is good, though it's a little more difficult. But not the end of the world. The key thing for me is that Luccini has so much sustainability. It's just going to be hard to kill people. And with a hero like Death Prophet, the longer she stays alive, the scarier she becomes. If she gets really initiated on hard, a lot of damage comes her way. You've got a Supernova. There's a lot going on. But moving into a pause, classic NA Dota here.
I mean, it wouldn't be NA Dota without that initial pause right at the start, so I'm looking at effigies. Nothing too cutesy.
No, not at all. I was looking at Dota 2 lounge bets, and it's actually a little more split than I was thinking. I always rely on a Grand Grant to give me the real odds because Dota 2 Lounge is so fickle. They really it changes around based on two recent stats, in my opinion. Luccini 37%, Evernova 63 tonight. Oh boy, it's hot stuff. We'll see. I have confidence in Luccini. I feel like last time I saw them play, I remember making a remark along the lines of, "Wow, this Luccini squad has made a lot of fans tonight." And if that is true, and I'm not confusing them with another team, then I stand by my statements, and it's going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is such a strong player, can't be underestimated. Now he's on a Timbersaw, and I believe the last time I saw them play, which may have been back in Suit American Master 4, the sword ended up going Timbersaw, building like Heart, Octarine, Yule, Shivas, and just got to be an unkillable raid boss, so we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, if those odds are really right, and Let Me Go is just thinking, you know what, I'm going to clown on these guys with my Storm Spirit. It's a very confident pick here. But, Void, I would say, is one of the better heroes to deal with Storm. Like, if in a vacuum you're thinking, all right, we're up against a really good Storm player, what's something we can do that can definitely shut him down? You think Doom, okay, he's banned out. Void is up there. Maybe not a close second, but I would say he's top 3, top 5 in just great lockdown for really mobile heroes like that, especially if he's getting this kind of farm. It could be good. Now, Ched, not to be confused with Chad, mind you. Ched going to be in the off lane here. They're going to do a 2-1-2 Witch Doctor Void. I'm not sure how this is going to work out against 3 heroes. Witch Doctor already getting stunned up. In comes the rolling boulder, and oh, daddy, Witch Doctor's in a world of hurt. That's an easy first blood. Voodoo Restoration not going to heal you through that. My God, Luccini, come on.
And was Voodoo Restoration skilled up before that, or was he forced to go Voodoo Restoration to try to
he
save
did
his
it in
life?
the middle of the fight to try to save himself. So this is a full aggro try from Luccini. Phoenix going to rotate up now. That'll be a solo lane for the sword against the Tidehunter. Of course, DP is going to be solo against the Storm Spirit. Interesting. I did not think that they would aggro try here. I thought it would definitely just be Timbersaw off lane doing the classic try not to die stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think having the supports there will be great, but the levels are going to be so abysmal. They got to make sure they get those levels. And down bottom, we're going to have Tidehunter just duking it out with the Timber. Who's going to win there? They're both just these big, tanky little boys, and they can't seem to kill each other, so it's going to come down to who can do the most with farm.
There's nothing little about him. I really like the term bruiser. It's really a word from the dreaded League of Legends, but it describes some heroes really well. Tidehunter is a bruiser. He's a big, bad, he's got an anchor, he's tanky, he does a lot of damage. He bruises people and receives bruises. No matter which way you look at it, he's a bruiser, and it's a good setup. I'm still skeptical of this aggro try. If it's like high stakes, high risk, high reward. If it works out, they shut down the Life Stealer. Ched here will get a lot of farm, but if it backfires, this could be disastrous. Phoenix kind of nearby, but not really lingering around. Did level up the Sunray, level 1 here, so it's still kind of a 2v3. This is really an awkward laning stage from Luccini, I must say. So far, it doesn't really seem too great.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see how the last hits get split up. I'm surprised there's not more babysitting mid, as Death Prophet has the potential to go in for nice early kills on Storm if she has support, but everyone else is kind of focused up here in the dire jungle.
Yeah, mid lane is pretty okay. I mean, DP will start to pull ahead as she gets a few more levels. Once you get that level 2 Crypt Swarm, she's just naturally got a great last hitting skill that she can also harass
Flea.
with.
In some trouble.
Down bottom. Nah, he's going to survive. It's that watermelon. Kraken Shell, 2 points in Anchor Smash. He's a beefcake.
Absolutely no. Ched going in, trying to contest some of this farm, but hasn't actually found himself that many last hits. He's sitting at 8, but Tidehunter in that offlane position, finding himself 13 last hits, top of the chart, and Lifestealer's been zoned back pretty effectively. He's only found himself 7 last hits, 2 denies, so we'll see if that's enough to really slow down Slicks.
Yeah. Well, so far it is. I mean, relatively speaking, neither carry is really farming that well. Void's pulling ahead a little bit, but they're being fairly disruptive. I thought it was going to be Evernova that wanted to be disruptive to the team fight of Luccini, but it's sort of the other way around. They want to use their healing prowess and kind of sustainability here to put some pressure on against the Lifestealer. Time Walk's great for damage mitigation also. Ooh.
Death Prophet, she's going in. That's her second charge in the Soul Siphon. She eats up a Fairy Fire trying to live, and she'll be okay, but maybe looking for a courier snipe here. No, she's just going to get back. Yeah.
Oh, it's not going to be enough. Yeah, close call up top. Put a little pressure onto the Earth Spirit. He'll just boulder back. No problemo. This is a pretty tense battle here in the mid lane. The Death Prophet getting pretty low. Not going to have another Soul Siphon for a little while here. Needs to be really careful. This is some serious bravery.
Yeah, I mean, she is just an empty bottle, no regen, trying to stay up in lane. I mean, Storm Spirit's only level 4, so there's no possibility of zip and go, but this mid lane, all it takes is one support rotation.
She's got mana for another Crypt Swarm, but now going to go for the rune. It looks like just camp out for 4 minutes. Nope, never mind. Just going to circle back in. All right, there you go. Blueberry down bottom. Storm's going to get a double bottle refill, it looks like. This is actually pretty nice. Woof, woof.
Yeah, my dog's freaking out right now. I apologize.
Yeah, Dota's exciting. So, interesting build from Slicks here. He's gone for a Blightstone.
Oh,
first
Sejuro.
Oh,
Sandwich
where is
between
it?
two dire
Oh,
bugs.
yeah,
He's
there it
trying to
is.
run away, just getting picked off in the river. That was a really nice roll in from the hook. I didn't think you would get that one.
Yeah. All right, much needed kill on the Death Prophet. Cut the very tail end of it, but good rotation. That's a Radiant ward down as well. They just went to contest the rune and kind of got lucky with their positioning. So good stuff for Evernova. That's actually a pretty costly kill, and most of it's going to go to the Lion, so he's going to be in good shape. That gets him some boots, a ward as well. Checking in on the bottom lane. It's just an even farm fest. The two bruisers farming against each other, both of them level 5, soon to be 6. Timbersaw is going to go for a Bloodstone, and Flea, well, we'll see. He's got an Iron Talon, so he'll be able to farm pretty well regardless. This is turning into a pretty passive early game. Everybody just sitting back and farming for the most part. The mids traded a lot of blows, but overall pretty few kills.
Yeah, I mean, look at Faceless Void's farm here. If they're really trying to get him up, get him items, he's only level 3 at this point, and he really needs that chrono. That's going to be the jump point for Luccini, and how much longer can they delay that? Meanwhile, mid lane Death Prophet just swings in onto the Storm Spirit. No fear there. She's only level 5, hasn't picked up the Exorcism yet, but should grab it relatively soon.
We'll see. We've seen a lot of DPs actually skip it until like level 8, level 9. Just go for the 404 build, max out the burst damage and the sustainability from the Spirit Siphon. You can see how potent it is against the Storm Spirit before he hits level 6. The DP can literally just dive him, chase him down, and has massive sustainability.
Oh, speaking of dive.
Yep, down bottom, Tidehunter. Too much damage. Timbersaw going to rack another one up. No point in Timber Chain, so he's gone for this really tanky, really damage-oriented build with the Whirling Death, and against the Tide, it is super effective.
Alright, so up top we finally got Void exerting some pressure, getting a little bit up to lane. Slicks himself is going to be level 4. I mean, he's not really conditional upon his ults, like it's not his huge turning point, but he wants some free space, and in terms of last hits, he's sitting 5th on the chart, getting surpassed by, you know, pretty much all the other cores.
Yep. It's true. They have definitely disrupted his farm, but it's still pretty even. I feel like a lot of this is going to hinge on that first big team fight. Luccini are definitely farming better, though, and it is in the side lanes. Now the Sword is really pulled ahead of the Tidehunter mid. Yeah, we'll have an initiation onto the Death Prophet. Laser on the way. It's trying to heal her up, but it's just not enough. 2 on 3. Now Phoenix in a little bit of trouble. Does have an Icarus dive. Should be able to make it out. Has support on the way. Witch Doctor's rotated in, but he's only level 4. Hanging on to a skill point. Gets the second one in Voodoo Restoration there. Storm Spirit with a double damage. Yeah, I don't really want to fight into that.
Alright, up top here, we've got Slicks finally, as he gets a moment of fresh air, trying to go through, pushes out the wave, getting some harass onto Shed, but, you know, his supports are not too far away. You've got the Phoenix, still decent health pool on him, going to be flapping back towards that top lane, and
down
now
bottom.
Shed.
The Sword, oh wait, 2 fights breaking out at once. The Sword forces out a Ravage, a rotation from the Storm, and it might just be costly the other way. The Sword's still pretty healthy. His problem is just mana right now. He's got a stick, Arcane Boots coming up. No kills, but he does a whole boatload of damage. And forcing out the first Ravage in such a defensive nature on just a solo hero, really with no threat of a counter kill. That's actually a big win for Luccini, at least for the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, we did see Lifestealer go in. He popped that open wounds. Now Phoenix up top, they're getting some harass onto Slick, so we just had to scamper back into the jungle. I mean, this guy is pretty much starved. It's 7 minutes in. He's picked himself up Phase Boots, has that casual Blightstone, but at points like this, we see well-fed Lifestealers have almost a completed armlet.
Well, down bottom, Tidehunter again just can't take the heat against the Timbersaw. We're understanding now why the Timbersaw is the go-to pick against strength heroes. That normally tanky Tidehunter, not so beefy anymore, just chewing through that HP. A lot of pure damage. It's not even like a local save yet. Yeah, they're going to go right in onto Ched. Level 5 Void might be able to get off a Time Walk here. He does. Returns most of the damage back. DP, level 7, but no ult. Almost gets hooked, but not quite enough damage. Has another Soul Siphon. They might still be able to grab Slicks here. He is level 6. No Infest available. But not comfortable diving the tower, at least not quite yet. On the backside, Phoenix. Icarus dive. Needs to be a little careful. Slick's doing some big damage. Oh my god. Does manage to get away, but it's a close one. Meanwhile, all the bottom, all the way in the bottom, the Sword finishes off a tower. Pretty nice there. He's completely zoned out this Tide.
Yeah, he's most of the way to a soul booster as well. Up top, we could have the first Chrono of the game coming out very soon as, you know, Void almost needs, you know, a couple more creeps to take him over to level 6, and they've got the Phoenix at the ready with the Sunbeam, so that's going to be a really great initiation point if they can find that. Man, the Sword has no fear diving under tier 2 just to force back the Tidehunter.
He really doesn't. Nothing to fear at the moment at all. He's going to have a really well-timed Bloodstone at this rate. We're looking at like 11, 12 minutes, something like that. And it's going to be ridiculous. Bloodstone, still not a very popular item in general, even though it was buffed. But there's a handful of heroes that it's still completely core on, Timbersaw being one of them. And now starting with 12 charges. If you get a start like this, you can really snowball and pick up momentum towards the mid-game. Void finally level 6. Some options opening up here for Luccini in terms of team fight.
Looks like he's going in straight for that Vanguard onto the Void, and no surprises. I mean, that's
or Battle
super
Fury,
cool.
you never know.
I mean, yeah, I actually saw it once in the SEA scene, but
I've seen it before. I think it's underrated, honestly. If you're playing him on the 1, sometimes you need that farming tool to make sure that he can hit critical mass on par with another carry who's farming with, you know, a Midas or a similar farming tool. The thing about Battle Fury that's kind of nice is it does give him a lot of right-click damage. And now with Time Walk, you have the ability to heal up a lot of damage taken as long as you have enough HP to survive the initial burst.
Oh, bottom lane.
Yeah, there is some potential to. I doubt we'll see it, though. The sword, oh, that's a Ravage. Okay. It's going to be a 5-on-1 here. I don't think Timbersaw is surviving this one, given he has no points in Timber Chain. Tries to TP home. That's cute. Not going to be enough, and a Lifesteal, we're going to get credit for that one. But alas, 5-on-1. I think Luccini will call that one space created as they start to shove in the side lanes here.
Yeah, they're going to pop out the Exorcism, and there's really not much Evernova can do about it. They're going to be rotating in a couple of their heroes, but Slicks, he's super low mana, doesn't even have enough for the open wounds, and, you know, Hook, even if he lands the best boulder smash of his life, there's just not enough follow-up at this point, so it looks like they will force the Death Prophet back. Meanwhile, up top, more and more space, going Shed's way. I mean, Witch Doctor hits like a fairy, but at least he's doing some work on this tap tower.
Yep. And getting more space in the lane to kind of free farm up. Witch Doctor leeching XP, just desperately trying to hit his level 6 mark, get that Death Ward out, even more damage. Same deal for Phoenix. Right now, a little under-leveled, 4.5. Lowest in the game, tied with old Earth Spirit here. Both of them really pretty desperate for experience at this point. Tomes of Knowledge have come out. Looks like it's already been bought on the Dire. Radiant have theirs available. Luccini, tisk, tisk, double tisk. There it is. Phoenix will pick it up.
Yeah, they're not going to let that one sit in the shop for too long. Now, up top, tower's cleaned up. Bottom, they're looking for a trade here. And, you know, these top and bottom towers are super important because it opens up the jungles for all the carriers that desperately need some space as these lanes have been so tough. And now the sword going in, he's not going to let this tower fall without a fight. And even just him alone, such a huge raid boss at this point in the game. And they bring in the Death Prophet as well. He's got a couple charges there in that Spirit Siphon. So no one wants to fight into this bottom lane, which is unbelievable space created for Luccini.
Yeah, pretty nice. Evernova don't even really push, to be honest. They kind of chip at the tower and just instantly back up. Tier 2 up top, still pretty healthy, but Ched, number 1 on net worth now. Got the Vanguard coming. You're right, Vitality Booster. He's going to go the Vanguard Radiance. Oh, God. It's awful.
It's not that bad. It just takes a while to come online, and
yeah.
At this point, I think Luccini have enough backup damage with the Timbersaw and the Death Prophet. It really makes the team suffer when Void is the only source of damage at the early game potential. But
I mean, it's great. It's a good build, don't get me wrong. I just hate it.
It takes a long time.
I casted a Naga versus Alchemist game this morning. So any
God.
kind of like, I'm going to build a tank item, then get a Radiance is like, AKA, I'm going to farm for an hour and then just kind of outmass you because my hero scales well. It's just that safe, somebody kill something kind of Dota. And it's not all bad. It is. You can't blame the Void. In this game, honestly, he could probably get away with getting a little more damage focus because they have the Timbersaw, who's so beefy to play that frontliner. Like, often when you see this Vanguard Radiance build, it's because Void is, like, the only melee hero or the only initiator. Yeah, we're going to see the sword just melt in the mid lane. Cheese and crackers. I mean, they'll drop the finger, so it's a warranted kill. But, yeah, some serious bursts there.
There is so much hate for this Timbersaw, and rightfully so. I mean, the sword has played this fantastically in the laning phase, but at this point, a lot of the net worth on Luccini isn't exactly concentrated on the Timbersaw anymore. They got to start focusing the Void, who at this point has enjoyed the fresh air, enjoyed the breathing room up top.
Yep, he's enjoyed farming up that Vanguard so he can stay safe from ganks now. Morbid Mask, some sustainability, pretty good. What's Lifestealer working on? Old Slicks. Got himself the Armlet, hanging on to that Blightstone, and just phase boots for now. Skipping the drums, but Armlet toggling. Pretty good.
Man, I haven't seen a Lifestealer pick up drums in weeks. I think it's going to be either straight into the Deso, could go for the S&Y. We saw good old Havost go straight Heart on the Lifestealer one time, and that was pretty neat. But I don't think we're going to go that tanky.
Yeah, straight Heart. I guess it could work in a niche situation where you just don't want to die. That's a I don't know. I have not seen that strategy myself, but you never know. How we're looking on experience here, Phoenix and Witch Doctor both 6. So team fight ultimates online for Luccini and Evernova. They're going to have theirs as well. Magnetize now out for the Earth Spirit just as we stroke down to look at him. So things looking pretty good, starting to heat up. Both teams going to be looking opportunities to fight. Up top, it's going to be the Tide Hunter who may fall victim. They're smoked up, ready to hunt. About half duration left on the smoke. Who are they going to find? Quite possibly the Lion. Juan rotating through the mid lane. This tier 1 tower mid still standing with a sliver of HP. It's going to rain on their parade real quick. Looks like this party is going to be over. Nobody brought the pinata.
No one popping just yet, but I think both teams are fine with that. I mean, Evernova, they'd probably like to take a fight a little bit earlier on, but Luccini, they're content sitting back, farming up. It's super late game Timber, late game Void, late game Death Prophet. They all scale pretty well. Oh, Ravage up top for solo Ched. They get the silence, they get the beam, trying to heal him up, but it's not going to be enough.
Oh, Ched, no. He almost got the time walk. That was close. Phoenix almost saved him. He was like, don't worry, good buddy, I've got the laser, but...
Is that the third solo Ravage of the game?
I think so, actually. And, you know, that one I feel like is a little more warranted. Like, if you're using it as a solo Ravage for a kill, it's really not bad in these early levels. Like, Tide just needs items. And he's got Arcane Blink, so those kind of kills really add up. It's like that first one where you die anyway and you just Ravage because, oh my god, he's killing me. Those are really bad in the early game because that the opportunity cost is huge. That's a potential kill. That's potential progress towards your core items. But mid lane, we're going to see a fight break out. DP pops the ult. She's got a haste rune, so very mobile. Look at the Tide just melt. Oh my Lanta, it's a Chronosphere on 3, the Ravage. It's not going to be there because it's on cooldown, and they're just going to fall apart. It's a 3-0. It's a great team fight for Luccini, and this is the reason I picked Luccini to win game number 1 here, Annie. This is team fight domination. That exorcism's up. They didn't even use the egg. They didn't even need it.
It's just such a strong fight. I mean, the threat of a Ravage wasn't there, so what was stopping Luccini from just going all in? Tide Hunter, yeah, he's beefy. Yeah, the Anchor Smash kind of sucks, but there's nothing else zoning him out. I mean, Storm Spirit, what's he gonna do? Electric Vortex you? There's not a whole lot to be afraid of once you are 100% sure Ravage isn't there, so Luccini took the opportunity. They got off their ults, and now they have to back off for a little bit, waiting for that Exorcism, waiting for the Chrono, but no problems whatsoever. They got a tower, they got a couple picks, and they're feeling A-okay in terms of net worth. That was a pretty sharp spike.
Yep. Well, when you're right, you're right. It's time for the instant replay presented by Soylent. Thank you, Soylent, for making all of our instant replay needs come true here. Our dreams, rather. Here we go. Death Prophet starts it off, as we mentioned, the Soul Siphon into the haste rune. You're not getting away from that. It's a stun from the Lion. That's what made me think it was a Ravage for a moment. Then I remembered that Tide Hunter wasn't able to do anything that fight. He was just a neutered little sea urchin. It's brutal. It's brutal stuff. Great team fight for Luccini. That'll break this game wide open for them. Uh-oh, mid lane, Death Prophet. Oh, golly, she survives. It's a Yule's Scepter, but just buys her a couple seconds. Enough time for Luccini to rotate a few heroes. The sword is here. He's unsheathed and coming in swinging, but not going to find any kills. Still a big spike for Luccini, though, as you mentioned. It's about a 4K net worth lead now for our Radiant squad, despite that kill. Well, all right, maybe 3.2K after that kill, but still, nice lead.
Absolutely, and we see the sword just wasn't able to do enough zoning there. He's got his Bloodstone, 12 full charges, full up Magic Wand. What's he going for next? Does he go for Octarine? Does he go for Yules? Does he go for Shivas? I'm
sorry, who?
Tide Hunter, or wow, Timbersaw.
Timbersaw. That's a good question. The Shivas is a really good choice. I'm a big fan of the Shivas against Storm Spirit in particular. So much of his damage output is based on right clicks and getting those overloads in. Also, just the added armor. He's already got a lot from reactive armor, but it just makes him really, really strong. Right click armor, I guess not the best thing to have against Lifestealer, but you know it does add up. Just right clicks in general. Also, just the AOE slow. It's pretty good here. Pretty mobile heroes, but if Lifestealer is ever on the run and doesn't have rage, it pretty much secures a kill. It's one of those things that can kind of go both ways depending on cooldown. So, yeah, I'm in for the Shivas. That's basically what I'm getting at. Here we go. Exorcism, bottom lane. Tier 2 tower going down, it looks like. Mid lane, Evernova. They're going to trade 1 for 1, but it's a tier 1 for a tier 2. Not quite ideal, though. The tier 1 mid, probably the most prized tower for Luccini that was still standing on the map. Exorcism still has some time on it, about half duration. They're going to go into the high ground. No glyph available for Evernova. So this is actually going to be some sure damage. Where are the TP scrolls? Evernova, you've got them. Are you going to use them? Come on, old buddy, don't let me down. Half damage on the tower. This is just free HP. Lion TP's in, says, where's my goddamn team? Okay, here they are. I think that's probably more damage than they expected on that tier 3, down to about 600 HP. They're going to move into the tree line. Thought they were going to set something up, but they're just going to back out. TP's home. Oh, the sword. He gets left behind. It's not going to be free damage after all. He does, however, slit his wrists in a sad suicide.
Oh, buddy, that was dark. Yeah, but unfortunately, it's not too much for Evernova. That's not going to get them a whole lot of traction back. In terms of XP, we're down to about 0, but net worth still sitting comfortably in Luccini's favor. They have a couple more screw-ups like that before it's really going to start to catch up with them. Now, Phoenix going in. Icarus dive to get the electric vortex. That Phoenix is a dead little birdie. The courier does manage to flap away, holding on to Phoenix's urn. At least the courier didn't go down. Yeah,
that's true. There's always a silver lining. Great pick for the Storm, though. He's really starting to get some momentum. Arcane Rune, amazing on the Storm Spirit for obvious reasons. Soul Booster on the way, so he's going to go Bloodstone also. Obviously, a bit behind the Timbersaw. He's had his Bloodstone, but he's keeping tempo. You look at net worth overall in Storm Spirit's not really that far behind. Luccini had a decent spike in the gold graph, but overall, this game is still pretty darn even. 6 to 8 at the 20-minute mark. Evernova are still farming up on these cores, and things are just heating up. I think we're going to be in for the long haul in this game. Neither team particularly good at sieging towers. Both of them good at using spells. The sword initiated on by a Ravage. Follow-up Finger Hex. But the laser, it's keeping him alive. They just don't have the damage. It's Timbersaw versus the world. The entire team got him down to 50% HP. How can they possibly do this? They're going to TP out. They're just going to try to run from the little guy in the chopper. Boulder away. Too bad he doesn't have a stun. They're just going to TP out in front of him. There you go.
But that was so much dunk down for just a Timbersaw to get low, and obviously Phoenix coming in did help him out a fair amount, but...
Still, Ravage and Finger.
Yeah, and you talked about the Ravage being expensive, and it's fine if he uses it for an assured kill, but the fact that they weren't able to get a kill off that means the threat of Ravage is no longer there. Luccini, they got the Death Prophet ulti, and okay. Death Prophet, she's going to keep a treble. Pops into the Yules here. They got that static remnant going through. They're ripping her apart. She gets the soul siphons off, but it's not going to be enough. Dominating streak out to the Lifestealer, who did go Echo Saber first.
Yeah, easy peasy. Great choice from Slicks here. Definitely a sign that he's reading this game such that they're going to have to fight. He's looking at Luccini's lineup and probably thinking similar to what we're talking about. They don't siege that well. Yeah, they have a Death Prophet, but they're not really able to just take fights and knock down our towers. We still have pretty good high ground defense. We're going to be fighting a lot, no doubt about it. Echo Saber, incredible in these kind of bloody games. It's not bloody yet, but I still think the bloody mid-game is coming, and that's where the Echo Saber really shines. Gives you that extra little slow so you can chase people down, and synergizes well with the Desolator that's going to be on the way not too far off.
Yeah, I think the Deso pick is super, super necessary here. I mean, just the Timbersaw, his armor is getting absurd, and you got to be able to cut through that. We saw how piddly Evernova's attempt was to get him down last time.
Yeah. Now, the issue with that, the point against the Timbersaw, I was thinking, you know, if he ends up going more armor items, like if he gets the Shivas, there comes a point where it's like the Desolator doesn't even matter anymore. Like, what's -9 to his +45, you know? Like... That does become kind of a factor. I guess it's -8, really. But he's going to go Crimson Guard. So similar vein. Not the tanky Shivas we were thinking, but still very, very beefy. And, you know, just good against the right clicks. You know, not a classic Crimson Guard game, but I think it's an item that is definitely underrated in some regards. Just mitigating that much damage from right clicks alone is huge in these team fights.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see someone on Evernova go for a pipe. I think the Tide Hunter's the logical pick up there, but he's still got work to go. He might want to get his Greaves first, so Flea, he's got to get himself some farm, and he's standing in the Ancient Pit. He's on the right direction, but can he do it quick enough? Smoke up from Luccini. They're hunting.
Yeah, they sure are. There's also a Veil of Discord up on Earth Spirit. Didn't mention that, but pretty good item. A lot of magic damage on Evernova. They're just going to go right into the Roche Pit. This is pretty sneaky. We're going to take a look at Dire Vision here. They do have a ward on the high ground. I'm not sure if they can see the ghosts here. I don't know if that's a visual bug on our end. I want to believe that you can't just see ghosts like that if you don't have vision, because that would be dumb. But, you know, stranger things have happened.
Got the Blink Ravage.
They seem suspicious. There is still some time left. Here we go. They hop right into the pit. Roche still pretty healthy. There's the Ravage. DP's in Yules when it comes out. Actually not bad, but the Void goes down. Phoenix trying to get on the high ground. Not quite going to make it, but still might get the Supernova off. It's going to be close, but no, the egg gets popped. DP still alive for a while, but now her ult is down. It's looking like the fight's going to go towards the Dire as the sword gets finished off. Roche died somewhere in the mix. The Aegis was snatched by the Lifestealer, so it did get killed by the Radiant. He does not die, so he walks away with the Aegis. It's a crazy, chaotic team fight, but in the end, It is Evernova that comes out big, and they're actually going to take the lead after that, I think.
Yeah, that was a big swing. That was about 1,700 gold. Oh, Storm Spirit going all the way through. Yules from Sajuro saying, get on back, goes in with the silence. She's just pissy that her whole team is dead and let me go. Well, he doesn't have enough mana to go in for another initiation, even with the 17 Bloodstone charges.
Yeah, exactly right. The 17 Bloodstone charges. Brilliant time to win a fight like that. Right after he's picked up the Bloodstone, now can get a lot of momentum moving towards the Orchid, and this is where the Storm starts to get a little scary. He can just start zip-zapping around, picking on these supports in the back line, maybe jump on that Phoenix before he can Icarus dive in to start a fight, interrupt the Witch Doctor so he's not going to get an ult going. It's going to be rough stuff here for Luccini. I'm starting to get a little bit nervous for the boys on the Radiant. So I do want to relive this team fight. Let's go back to our Soylent instant replay here. And just kind of take a look at this fight from another angle because it was pretty chaotic. The Earth Spirit goes in first. The Ravage follows up. They just completely destroy the Void in the duration of the silence. If the Phoenix had made it onto the high ground, maybe would have had a chance here. The Storm was doing right clicks, and then the melee turned at the very end. There's a chance that if that Supernova went off, they could have turned the fight around. I think the bigger problem was the Exorcism was just about to expire. Towards the end of the fight, when they really needed that last burst of damage, it just wasn't there because she used so much of it for the Roche. Back into the game. Fight? Nope, not quite.
That Hunter was like half a second away from getting chronoed, but ends up blinking away and goes through, refreshes his mana pool, and this is going to be a big clump up of heroes. Not a whole lot of experience going anyone's way, but Let Me Go has a buddy in his belly. Maybe looking for a nice zip onto the rest of the Radiant.
Yeah, absolutely. And with this mana pool, like we were talking about, he can zip from pretty far away, and all of a sudden you think you're safe in your jungle, and then there's a Storm Spirit, soon to have an Orchid, Life Stealer with some minus armor coming your way, giving you the right clicks, and it's -7. God damn, I would have failed Jeopardy.
Yeah, you are buffing that
9,
like
and then I said
else.
8, and it's actually 7. I thought it was an odd number, and then 9 sounded like too much. I was like, well, maybe just -1. I don't want to go too crazy with changing my original answer. God, Merlini would be disappointed. He's really good at trivia.
He's already disappointed, man. Well,
That's
we do have
true.
Lifestealer now with 2k golds, and, you know, it could be a Sange and Yasha, could be an Assault Cuirass. What do you think he's going to be picking up here?
Good question. I think Assault Cuirass probably a likely choice. Helps with pushing, great team fight item. Both teams, honestly, Assault Cuirass is going to be an item they're going to need at some point. A lot of physical damage, and just having that minus armor. It's great against the Death Prophet, and also synergizes very much so with the Death Prophet. So just one of those games where it's a good item.
Death Prophet.
Yep, Ravage up top, Flea going in hard, Cask starting to bounce around a little bit on the backside, Shed way too far forward again, silenced and locked down, no Chronosphere as he takes the finger. BKB used by the DP, Evernova, or pardon me, Supernova goes off, Evernova sidestep and don't get stunned up. It's a 1-for-1, tied for Void. Now the TP's out, the mass exodus from Luccini will be successful. Final one makes it home, and that'll be it. The offlaners trade life for life, and now Luccini get a little more out of it.
Yeah, I mean, they get more out of it because Evernova are so far ahead, but dropping the Void at this critical point in the game is not great. Void's just a couple moments off from finishing up his next item and really wants that free time.
What's the deal with his build? I don't get it.
Is he BKBing?
This is not Vanguard Radiance. I mean, you got to give the guy credit for saying that build is toxic, and I'm not going to contribute, but this is all over the place. You go a Vanguard, kind of like you want to survive, and then the Vlad's is great, kind of like, it's like he's taken pieces from all the different Void builds and jammed them together into one. You know, you've got Vanguard Radiant, so the Vanguard's there. Normally, if you're just off lane, you'll go Vlad's into Blink, so the Vlad's is there. And then if you're going like safe lane carry, you'll often go for a core item than Echo Saber in a similar vein to like the Lifestealer would, because, well, you're a safe lane carry, and it's like a mini bash that helps you get more bashes.
Oh, speaking of safe lane carry, Slicks here rages up, just wants to whack apart the Witch Doctor, but you've got the little Sunray there, you got the Crimson Guard, Knight's Earthspike coming through, but it's enough to fend off the damage for now, so Slicks can't even get a jump pick on the position 5.
Yep, talk about that sustainability. It's beautiful. Shed trying to go up to the high ground, gets hexed up by the Lion. In comes the Lions, or pardon me, the Storm. Zip zap, he's got himself an Orchid. It's a silence on the Void again, and he'll fall. But now Exorcism's out. Death Ward's starting to bounce around. Phoenix nearby, doesn't have the ult for another 5 seconds though. Slicks taking heavy damage. That's the end of the Aegis only. Finger now out on the Witch Doctor. It's looking like Evernova might be able to take over the fight. It's starting to break up into these small skirmishes as the sword puts big damage into the Storm. Is he actually going to go down? No, he zips out. Now it's the sword that's locked down, but the Supernova keeps him alive. Now the laser actually buys him some HP. Icarus dive out. 2 dead on the side of Luccini. All 5 still alive for Evernova. They will cut their losses, start to make it home. The sword, long TP, makes it. After all that, they only lose 2, and of course they do get the Aegis, so they do kill the Lightstealer 1. Still a great fight for Evernova. Basically the power of the Aegis, but my God, that was chaos. I can't believe that Luccini didn't get punished more. It looked like such a bad fight for them. Uh-oh, up top.
Yeah, they're going through. They're getting that chase there, but Storm, he's fresh out of mana, just wants to give a little bit of harass to the Witch Doctor, who... How did the Witch Doctor live through all of that? That was the original jump target, and I guess just through some well-timed Voodoo Restoration ends up surviving all of that damage.
Gold for me.
Yes, ma'am. This is really looking rough for Luccini, though. I'm starting to wonder, what do they need to do to turn this one around? Slicks is starting to pull ahead. Witch Doctor has an Aghanim's. Okay, that is a game-changing item. And honestly, you don't see this in pro games that often. I think of this as kind of like a pub build. You know, most people tell me going utility items like a Glimmer Cape, you know, that kind of stuff, Aether Lens, much better on Witch Doctor than just rushing an Aghanim's. But with this kind of a lineup, if you have a Chronosphere, if he catches 3 or 4 heroes and Witch Doctor gets that ult bouncing around, it is also level 2. It's pretty crazy damage, especially when paired with, you know, the AoE damage from the Death Prophet also coming out.
Right, so that's, again, going to be a really, really yucky thing to fight up against. Evernova, though, they've got the potential to sit back and pace that one out. Let Me Go is so mobile. As long as he doesn't get hit by the silence, he can zip-zap into these fights as he wishes. And there's going to be a big ol' smoke up onto all 5 heroes as Lifestealer is inside the Storm. And they're hunting for something, but I guess their closest target is the Sword, who's going to be safely back to his high ground.
Yeah, I'm not looking like a successful smoke here. Scan used by the Radiant, actually. Good read that they're all off the map, thinking somebody might be smoked up, but misreads the location, thinking they could just be right around the corner. Instead, they are in a much more aggressive position, and Luccini in a pretty defensive posture themselves. They are in enemy territory in the top lane, but all hiding along the tree line, very spread out, kind of minimizing the chance they could get wiped up here if somebody gets caught. But yeah, back to this Void, I think it is going to be a BKB. I mean, it's got to be, right? He's already got the Echo Saber. Like, normally I feel like you would get Echo Saber so you could break it to make a BKB, almost. You know, like...
I mean, it's
maybe
possible he could go for something like a Halberd, but that seems really not the choice. Like,
what
not even a little bit.
What a terrible build that would be. I mean, maybe he's going to do that. Well, it's just like, it's a little bit of everything, but he's not good at anything. Like, he kind of has a little bit of damage. He kind of has a little bit of survivability. He kind of has a little bit of team utility, but none of it's really great at anything. Usually Void, like, you need him as just an initiator, just a damage dealer. It's, I mean, we'll see. I don't want to shit on the guy too hard. Maybe Ched's got a master plan. I'm not trying to be cynical here, but it does seem a little peculiar to me.
You know, it's possible he's going into a farming Sange and Yasha, but how much longer would Luccini need to take that to have it pay for
30
itself?
30 minutes Sange and Yasha? Oh.
You know, I've seen weirder, man.
Oh,
South America
I know,
is a very neat scene.
I mean, it's not yeah, you're right. Weird things have happened, but that's just not an item that you start building at 30 minutes. It's so underwhelming. Like, it's sort of a drum replacement, you know? You just go phase boots right into the S and Y. It gives you a little bit of everything, movement speed, survivability, a nice maim. At 35 minutes, nobody's like, oh no, look out for the maim on Faceless Void. They're like, oh, Void's got an S and Y, great, let's kill him. He doesn't have a blink dagger. You know, that's I think that's more of what the enemy's thinking. But hey, again, we'll see what he does. Maybe he can get these initiations after all. The BKB will certainly help on that front. I think he needs the BKB because he's been silenced so much. And that's where I'm thinking, like, dude, just break the Echo Saber. Like, it's too late now. He's got the Ogre Club. But get that BKB ASAP if that's the route you're going. Like, go Blink Dagger, or maybe instead, because you can just sit back, not get silenced, and then try to counter-initiate instead of being the frontliner. You know, you've got this Timbersaw who can be your frontliner. Sit back.
He's going to go in. They get a solo chrono on him. They're dumping everything for him.
Okay.
Committed. And I guess it locks down the Tidehunter. No threat of a Ravage for the next minute. I want to talk a little bit about the Witch Doctor's build here. No points in Maledict.
Okay. Sometimes it's one or the other. You know, they go for Voodoo Restoration or Maledict. I think this game, he just feels like, you know what, I'm getting picked on so much. I need every little bit that I can get in stats for that extra strength. Because he had those 2 points in Voodoo Restoration early on in the lane, you know, and usually you'll see them wait to level up Maledict. I think at this point, he's just in full defensive mode. Like, I just need to live to channel my ult. Everyone else has the damage. Our problem is not damage. Our problem is just me surviving long enough to do damage. Hey, there's the AC.
Alright, pretty solid from him, and now he's got some luxury here, because that's a relatively early AC on top of his other items, as Slicks is top of that net worth chart. He could go for something like a heart, he could also go back for, you know, a basher into Abyssal. There's a lot of flexibility on the new Lifestealer builds.
Yep, he's a flexible Freddy for sure. And I think Blink Dagger also a pretty warranted pickup on him. It's really nice when you can just jump out of an Infest Bomb, you know, kill somebody, and then just run into Fog and then blink back in to reinitiate. It kind of opens up more possibilities for the Lifestealer, and he can get into more precarious situations and often survive a lot more easily. Evernova now moving into the Roche Pit. Uncontested Roshang going to be another Aegis of the Immortal for one. Slicks, the pink player here on the Lifestealer. Second, no, wow, okay, he dropped his hatchet, and it's actually the Storm Spirit that picks it up. Okay. Can't complain with that. He's got 19 Bloodstone charges. They're just going to keep this snowball rolling. And, of course, Storm is one of the best Aegis carriers, up there with Leshrac, a couple others. Wraith King's pretty good. But Storm, low cooldowns, high mana pool, you know, does a lot with mana. He's pretty happy to have that ability to reset in the middle of a fight.
Absolutely here. So we're going to see how the next fight goes down, as there is that Blink Ravage on Tide still. He didn't pop it when he got massacred the last time, so we'll see if Flea wants to jump. We'll see if Lifestealer wants to hop into his buddy and zip in with the Storm. But for now, it looks like Luccini are playing so defensively. How long can they do that? Can they just hold high ground inevitably with their lineup?
Well, they're not really that far behind. Like 2K net worth, 3K experience. That's pennies. That's child's play at this point. You know, it's a couple A Blinkins. It's nothing. It's the kind of stuff you'd give a bum if you were in a good mood.
Oh God.
So they're okay to sit back if they can get that perfect team fight. You know, like I think their best expected value play is hold high ground and get a good chrono. That's probably going to be their best chance, especially at this point with the Aegis. You've got to wait it out. You don't really have an option. I mean, you could defend a tier 2 tower. That's totally an option as well. But the point is, defend something. Keep your objectives close to your vest. And force them to dive into you. If they can kill the Aegis without burning too many ults here, that would be absolutely huge. But it looks like Storm is just going to play this a little more defensive, utilize the benefits of that double damage, and kind of slow siege this tower. They do have quite a bit of time left on the Aegis, 3.5 minutes. Whoa, Storm jumping in.
Yep. Yeah, a little bit aggressive there. He gets the tower right on down.
Hey, look at this Void. Look at this. Hey, just a casual Ogre Club. He makes a pivot. He goes into the Blink Dagger. I like this. Hey, Ched. This is good. This is really smart. This is a game-winning decision right here, Annie. This is the kind of shit that wins games.
So you went from shitting on Ched to now.
No, well, look at what he did, right? He bought the Ogre Club and said, wait a second. I'm not going to get the BKB. We need to do shit now. What's better than a BKB that can achieve the same goal? A Blink Dagger. So he held on the Ogre Club and got the Blink. Now he made a pivot. You know, he identified the error in his ways. I love this. And now they're going to be caught off guard. They haven't seen it. This is the Blink Dagger reveal. Oh, come on, Luccini. You can do it.
Well, they're looking for something here. They get the ping onto Slicks. They know he's there. They want to go in for something. Storm zip-zapping around. Where's the jump point here? Does the sword send out a casual chakram? That'd be pretty neat. Oh, God.
Uh-oh. Oh, God, he goes in deep. No, Ched, not like this. Oh, no, the Blink Dagger was useless. Now the Witch Doctor falls. It's a massacre. Jesus, Luccini's already lost 3. They're trying to do what they can. The sword standing strong against his stand-in brethren. They will get a counter kill on the Earth Spear. It looks like they'll get a kill on the Lion as well. They're going to pick on the supports before they go down. Timbersaw gets obliterated after the Yules, and DP will TP out. So it is a 2 for 4, not just a clean kill for Evernova, but they only lose their support. So I don't think they'll be too upset about it. The one downside to going all in on a dagger like that is the Void. If you get initiated on, it's a sunk cost and essentially a useless item. So, I mean, honestly, the BKB probably would have been better there, but he didn't have the gold for it. So
you are bipolar about this Void.
Well,
God,
man. Shit happens, and you got to adapt. It's a changing market.
Well, now we've got high ground push here from Evernova. The push isn't the best. I mean, the Desolator helps, the AC helps, so they're ripping through this pretty quickly, but I mean, Luccini, they've only got 3 heroes up. There's not much they can do about it. Phoenix spraying out Fire Spirits just to try to get that slow, and Evernova, they show some restraint. They head back. This could be a fake back. They could look to go on top and then initiate right back onto high ground.
I think they're going to play it safe for now. Aegis expiring in about a minute. They might just go for the safe push up top like you were mentioning. That's the easy play. They're probably not going to contest it against the Aegis. Storm up to 23 Bloodstone charges now. So that's
Good God.
That's one happy Storm Spirit for sure. He's also got a completed Scythe of Vice now. So he's right-clicking harder, about 200 a pop. When he has the Life Stealer, the Surprise inside, he's got that extra attack speed, minus armor. Here we go, zip in up top, right onto the sword. It's the Infest Bomb, Surprise inside, BKB used. Chad, he whiffs the Chrono! Oh no, that's the Aegis down. Storm Spirit, is he going to be able to survive through this, or will they have the lockdown? Yule's Scepter, can he zip out? He can. They're going to reset. Now maybe the fight will break out. Backside, Supernova goes off. It might not catch any stuns, though it is going to happen. Tide doesn't have a Ravage, though he does have Guardian Greaves. They'll lose the Storm Spirit. He's up in 5 seconds because of the Bloodstone charges. Great stun from the Lion. Now Slick's going in with some right clicks, trying to bring down the sword. Not doing enough damage, though, but Juan's got it. The finger finishes him off. Lifestealer hops inside of a creep. He's going to try to make the getaway as Shed continues to pursue, chases down the Lion. Time dilation's out, but uh-oh, it's the big bad Storm. He zips in from across the map, drops the Orchid on Shed. He goes down. Now on the backside, they kill the Witch Doctor. It's a turnaround the other way. It's almost like Let Me Go had a buyback because of Bloodstone. It's a big-time wipe. All 5 of Luccini down. I think you call it a 1 for 5 with Storm Spirit getting back in the fight. It's a 3K swing for Evernova. And looks like they're going high ground on that one. That's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, that might be it. That was a very, very good fight. And, you know, the Storm, he dropped Aegis, he dropped his life, but he was back in, like, 0 seconds. And now that's going to be at least 1 set of racks, if not 2. There are a couple of buybacks on Luccini, but, oh, the Tide is taunting. That is a little bit sad. They didn't even pop the Ravage in that fight. They've got it up. They've got it at the ready. I think this is the nail in the coffin.
Absolutely. There's still an exorcism here, but this is looking like the end of Game 1 for Luccini. Evernova just showing their experience. Honestly, they handled this game really well. Very consistent play, the backstroke coming out, great team fighting. They fought around the Ravage very effectively, and there it is. The good game is called as they initiate on the sword for the final time. Flea with a Ravage for good measure. Shed on the way in, looking to make it happen, but you know, honestly, this Void had such a rough game. All jokes aside, every single fight he jumped in, he was the target of the silences. There's the Orchid, there's the Hex from the Lion, there's the stun from the Tide, and then of course there's all the silence and damage from the Earth Spirit. So it's like anytime Void is even close to popping forward, Evernova was like, there he is, get him, lock him down, let's kill that no-face bastard. And they did it really well in so many of those team fights. So even though I did rip on Chet a little bit, it was a really tough game for him as a byproduct of Evernova really picking on him hard. 0-6 and 5, it was a noble effort. I know a good game from Luccini, though, overall, I will say.
All right, and again, this is a best of 3, so we are not done with the Canada Cup action.
That's very true. Game 2 coming up after this. Thanks so much for joining us, folks, for Canada Cup Season 7. Zyori, she's Android, and this is Luccini versus Evernova, the best of 3 for elimination. We'll be back after this short break and word from our sponsors.